Welcome. I see we have a few attendees so far. I have launched a demographic survey. If you could take this time and wish to fill it out, we'd like you to. It helps us make sure we're reaching everyone. The meeting will start in about 6 minutes. Thank you. It looks like we have a few more attendees that have joined. We'll be starting the meeting in a few minutes here. I've launched a demographic survey. It's optional and anonymous. If you want to fill it out, it just helps us make sure that we're reaching everyone. So yeah, if you just want to hold tight for a few more minutes, we'll start. Thank you. Everyone, it looks like we have some more people coming in. We have a demographic survey that's optional and anonymous launched right now. If you would like to take it, it helps us just make sure that we're reaching everyone. So we're just about at 7 o'clock. We'll probably give it a few more minutes as I see more people coming in. So we'll start shortly. Thank you. Again, we have a few more people joining, so we'll just give it maybe another 2 minutes and then we can start. We have launched a demographic survey that's anonymous and optional, but we would love for you to take it. It helps just make sure we're reaching everyone that we can. Thank you. Okay, I think we have quite a few people here, probably ready to get this started so that we have enough time. I can start running through. We'll leave the demographic survey up throughout the meeting, so if you do get a chance to take it, that would be great. So welcome to the Lockett Park Playground renovation meeting. Hopefully this will take just under an hour. We'll go through some options of playgrounds and then have some just time for discussion and questions at the end. My name is Adam Furco. I'm a landscape architect and park planner for the city. We have Josh Landefeld, who's our park recreation services manager. Heather Seyfarth, unfortunately, came down with an illness and won't be joining. So I'm going to be trying to run the Zoom meeting, so bear with me for any technical issues that might come up. And then we have Dan Perot. He's with Michigan Recreation Construction. They are playground specialists. and he's here to help answer any questions that you might have specifically related to the playground. Okay, so our agenda for today, we'll do a quick Zoom technological overview, talk about meeting norms, our follow-up expectations. We'll give a quick project overview and schedule. We can review playground options, and the majority of the time, I'd like to take questions and have a discussion about the options. We were going to have project polling. Unfortunately, I don't know how to run that with Heather not here, so we'll just be taking questions, and I'll make sure to write everything down. And then we'll have a quick talk about Adopt a Park at the end. So when you, to make a comment or question, if you're on your computer, select the raise the hand on the bottom of the screen. That will pop up. You'll be identified by name that you were provided when you were entering the meeting. If your question's been answered, you can lower your hand. You can also question and answer box, type your question. Check send anonymously if you do not want your name to be publicly visible or question, and click send. We will try to answer those questions likely at the end, but if something's relevant to what we're saying at the time, we can discuss it. If you're calling on phone, I don't see anyone from the phone, but select *9 to raise your hand. You'll be identified by the last 3 digits of your phone number, and we can allow you to talk. Zoom meeting norms, we start on time, we end on time. Raise your hand to be recognized to talk. There'll be one speaker at a time. Move to a quiet area and silence any background sounds when speaking. Speak loud and clear to everyone so we can hear. Everyone will be provided a chance to speak before a repeat speaker. Please be respectful of other ideas and perspectives, no finger pointing. Try to differentiate between I know facts and I think opinions. An inappropriate written and/or verbal comment or language, including personal attacks and accusations, will result in the attendee being removed from the meeting. We've missed anything. So follow-up expectations, meeting summary will be posted on the park planning website and emailed to participants who provide an email address to us. Community participation in this project provides valuable feedback and input for consideration by us park planners. So I'll give it to Josh for the first few slides here.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming. I'm Josh Landefeld, as I mentioned. I'm the parks manager. In 2022, we've seen a lot of changes coming within the Parks Department and in Lockett Park in particular. Last December, we did the renaming of Winchell Park to Dr. Harold J. Lockett Park. And this summer, we added a park sign and did the renaming event, which was well attended and great to see people out there. In addition, the Parks is planning to make a number of improvements to the playground and the ball field in 2023. Also in this period of time, we have received an awful lot of feedback from the survey that Adam will be speaking about from our city improvement plan. We have been doing our parks pros plan. We've been doing an ADA study, and we also know that the local neighborhood association also did a survey results, and all of that is great information for us to look at. And we appreciate that there's a lot of wants and needs at this park. Our focus for today is on the needs in the playground's improvements. We are looking for that public input to be sought for the playground improvements, and that is what we're kind of focusing on this evening. This project is not a full playground renovation, but rather improvements to a variety of areas and pieces of equipment. There are some features of the existing play equipment that are in acceptable shape, but those that are necessitate a removal because of health, safety, or welfare will be removed and updated. I just want to add that tonight is the start of the conversation with Lockett Park. The focus on the playground is a necessity, and as we look at what opportunities there may be for wants or changes at Lockett, we'll continue to have those conversations outside of this meeting at a future date. So we look forward to hearing from you and appreciate you taking your time this evening to talk about this wonderful park.
Thank you, Josh. Following up on that, I just want to talk about the project schedule. So in the spring, we put out an online survey and we had really good response. For Lockett Park, we received over 150 responses during the time period that it was open. That feedback has kind of helped generate some of our designs, and then the feedback from tonight will help inform our design decision moving forward. Right now, construction is scheduled for spring of 2023. And while we're starting with the playground now is so we can order that equipment and have it, because oftentimes it takes a while, so we can be ready to go, which is why we're starting here. So what did we hear from the survey results? So the playground equipment, there needs updates and or removal. A zip line structure, the sandbox, the globe, those were identified as items that need to be looked at. 65% of respondents would be interested in natural play features. The Children's Botanical Garden at Mathai was mentioned as inspiration, and many love the idea of creative play. We did receive some moonshot requests that won't be part of this project, such as a small dirt pump track, dog parks, tennis courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts, practice disc golf and bathrooms. Those are outside of this playground, but those are some of the things that we heard. Some other things that we heard from caregivers who want to see additional features for comfort that we're trying to work with. We did receive comments that we would like toilets, which we can't do, but we will have a water fountain installed. There was a project on Windshield over the summer. We were able to install a water service line to the park, so we can put that and have a hose bib so that water could come from there. 78% responded that there's not enough seating around the playground, so we've incorporated benches and picnic tables in these options. All of the options have those. And then there was a request for shade, such as a pavilion or trees. This won't have a pavilion attached to it, but we have tried to incorporate more trees, especially in the playground area, which we've done on a few parks recently, to provide that shade. So what is natural play? So natural playgrounds are made of natural elements such as stumps, logs, boulders, and sand that provide a connection to the environment and allow for open-ended play. Natural playgrounds are thought to create more opportunities for exploration, discovery, learning, and play. And studies have shown that kids enjoy natural playgrounds more as they encourage more active play and lead to extended playtime compared to traditional playground environments. Natural playgrounds can be designed to meet all playground safety standards and ADA accessibility standards. I know that's one of the comments we had received was people liked the natural play options, but we're worried about splinters or things like that. And so these are used around our city. We've actually installed, I think, 4 or 5 in the last couple of years, and children tend to love them, and it's a safe thing. So I just wanted to highlight kind of what natural play features could look like. So these are clamor logs here. They're logs that are, it's a black locust that's stacked, and they're mounted together so they're not going to move, but it allows kids to kind of crawl on them and use them with their imagination. This timber hut, we put it at Bromley Park recently and West Park, and they're really loved by the kids that are there, and I recommend that you go check them out if you haven't. Kids can climb on them, climb under them. It seems to be really an enjoyable thing. And then we update our sandboxes to have the same locust surrounding with maybe some boulders to kind of hold it in. And it kind of creates a unique element that kids seem to enjoy. So I kind of share these, and then when we go into the plans, you'll kind of see where those are located. So this is what the existing park or the playground has. It has existing swings, which are right here. There's 2 bays, 2 toddler swings, and 2 belt swings. There is a zip line structure that's right here. When I went out, it had already been taken down for the winter, the bar across. The existing play structure is in really good shape. So all options are going to leave that in place. The sand play area that was noted as people liked it, but they wanted upgrades to it. So all of the options show an upgraded sandbox. They're not shown on here, but we've recently installed an accessible picnic table attached to the concrete walk here. So we do have some seating there. And then, the globe right here in the center was identified as something that might be looked at as being replaced. So the first option that we have is we leave the existing swings and the existing play structure as they are. Natural elements include the log play and some clamor steps that would be over here. We have the natural sandbox that would be down in this area. We have included in here a spin around top, which is a piece of play equipment that spins around. It's got ropes on it that kids can climb on. That seems to be one of the more enjoyable pieces that people request. We've also included a tire swing, which can provide for like group swinging. You'll notice in this option that the concrete walk that went around was removed, and that allows us to expand the playground a little bit, as there really isn't that much room to go east or west. So that is why that walk was removed in this option. And you can see we're providing some extra additional picnic tables and benches on the outside for folks. For option B, what we're looking at is we could actually expand the swings and provide 2 more belt swings. So that it'll provide 6 opportunities for kids to swing. Again, we're leaving the existing play structure. This one changes a little bit. We leave that concrete loop around, as we thought that could be a good way for kids to use scooters or bikes. So we wanted to provide an option that left that in place. This has a larger expanded sandbox area with the log crawl tunnel on the inside of it. And then it's got the log play and the clamor steps on the outside. So this has more of that natural play area that seems to be that was requested. This also has an accessible picnic table, so that would be on a concrete pad as like this one. So we'll have 2 accessible spots. So Lockett, the second or third option that we have here is the existing play structure and the swings will remain the same. We have the concrete ribbon that goes around the outside. We have the spin around top. Here we lose the clamor logs that were out there, so that has been replaced with the spinner. We have the natural play sandbox with the tunnel on the inside, and then some boulders on the outside, which kids like to play in. I believe we just installed these a couple years ago at Kelly Park, if you're familiar. And so those do tend to be quite popular, and kids can use their imagination as they climb over them. And here we are also providing picnic tables. Same as the other options I forgot to mention is we are providing trees on the inside. We've started doing that a couple years ago and find that kids like the shade when they're out there, and it provides a little bit of respite from the sun. I forgot to mention it on the first or the previous option, but here we're kind of scattering the trees. So we can kind of figure that out when we have our final plan, but we do have those trees in there for the shade. As we move to the last option to discuss here is instead of that spin around, this one includes a tire swing. So we can include the tire swing instead of the spin around or the clamor logs. That's kind of the difference between the last 3 options. It has the ribbon that goes around the outside. This one would leave the existing swings as they are in the existing play structure. Again, we're providing picnic tables. We can move those to be accessible on pads, or in this case, we are putting them kind of in the trees for a little bit of shade. And then it's a good view to the ball field to the south as well. This also provided boulder play area on the outside of the sandbox. And one thing I forgot to mention, the other plan showed it too, is but here's where that drinking fountain is going to come. So we have a stub coming off of Winchell, which is up at the top of the screen here right off. And we have a line that comes in there. So that's where that will be installed. So I guess from here, what I'd like to do is open it up to questions. I can flip back to any of the slides if we want to talk about anything specific. But I guess I'd kind of like to hear from you on the natural play versus the more traditional. None of these options are finite. So if there are things we like from some that we don't, we can kind of rework the plan. But this is a great time for us to get feedback from you. So if there are any questions, I would love to take them. We have a question here. Joe, you should be allowed to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great, thank you. Yeah, so I have 5 kids and we love the park as it is, and I'm excited to see these opportunities. one of the things I noticed in all of the options is you have 2 picnic tables that are in the kind of the 3 trees just south of the ribbon there. And
Yes.
I know my kids love to constantly climb up in those trees.
Oh,
Is
okay.
there any possibility that we could move the tables where they can still have shade, but won't have
Yes.
risk of people getting angry at my kids dropping bark
You
on
know,
them or
that's,
anything?
yes, that is something we can work on the placement of those. It's interesting because I saw a lot of the turf grass in that area had been kind of compacted, and I didn't realize kids were probably using that to climb on. So that's good to know, and we can work on moving the tables or the benches not to interfere with that.
Thank you.
All right. Grace, should be able to speak.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. This has been awesome. And I will echo the sentiment that we're so excited for some of the improvements at the park. I may have a solution for what Joe mentioned. We have a 2-year-old and another baby on the way, and the 2-year-old loves the swings, and I would love somewhere to sit near the swings.
Yeah.
I know there's that one bench there, but it's, facing the rest of the playground
Yes.
instead of near the swings. And so seating near there may be something to consider. I know seeing other parents around that area too, everyone's kind of like awkwardly standing, maybe hoping for somewhere to sit. So just a consideration. And then to the question on natural play versus the other option, which I'm forgetting the name of, I think our house is definitely pro natural play. I think seeing some of the like climber logs and the crawl tunnel and things like that feel like just bring like a really cool element to the area. So I was pleased to see some of those options.
Oh, great. Do you mind if I ask about the concrete ribbon, how you feel about having something like that versus the option where we kind of removed it so we could fit more equipment?
I don't know that I have a strong preference. I mean, I definitely, when you were going through the options, like gravitated toward option A, like in general, like with just more options. And I feel like also having a few of those maybe gave the park a little bit of variety for kids of different ages.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, like somewhere for, like just different age kids to go, or families that have a lot of kids, like maybe there's, options for everybody there. I also see the benefit of like the bikes and scooters around the edge, but I think this neighborhood, like there still is a decent amount of area to do that there. And even maybe just around the neighborhood, but I don't have a scooter or a biker yet. So someone with older children may have a more informed opinion.
Thank you, Grace.
Sure. Thank you.
Next we have I might pronounce this wrong, the Bohac family. You should be allowed to speak.
You got it right. You nailed it.
Good.
My name is Kirsten, and we have two daughters, a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. We're super excited about any updates to the park because from our experience or our opinion, they're desperately needed. So I'm glad that you're focusing on it. I think it sounds like there's not going to be any updates done to the existing play structure or the swings. Is that what I heard you saying? And I was just wondering if even if there won't be anything added to those, can there be any, like, I know this might be petty, but painting of it or anything to make it kind of tie in more with the natural play structure elements that you're going to be adding that I think are going to be awesome. But the big plastic, teal and blue and yellow play structure and swings just don't seem like they fit in with that concept.
I am going to have Dan answer that question about painting or
somehow making it look a little more Like, I don't know.
My gut says that's not really an easy thing, but I'm gonna ask Dan to weigh in on that one.
Yeah,
Dan, you should be able to. Dan,
Okay, yep, here.
yep, okay.
Yeah, painting of you can paint the metal parts, but the plastic is not gonna be paintable, so that you guys are stuck with the turquoise slides. And I think
Yep.
there's two of them. There's the one double slide, and then the one that you can't see in the little picture is a
yeah.
spiral slide.
I really want,
Yeah, and so they can be, yeah, they can be painted to more natural kind of colors. The results are, because you're doing it in the field, it's not always the best,
Mm-hmm.
but it is doable.
Okay, yeah, because that, though, updates to those, quite honestly, that was like a big thing I was hoping you guys were gonna do, because you look at it and it just kind of looks like a worn down playground. Even if you add, I think, the natural elements. So I don't know, maybe that's petty and maybe no one else agrees with me. but-
Well, I think one of the things that is happening that will drastically improve the look of that structure is that the poured in place rubber material that's cracking and not in great shape is going to be removed.
Oh, that'll be
I think
good,
that-
yeah,
I think that has a lot to do with how it looks.
Okay.
Kind of
Mhm.
used and old, and once that's gone, I think the rest of the play structure is in pretty good shape. And so if you can, yeah, so if you can live with the blue and yellow, again, we're not gonna be able to do anything with the turquoise.
right,
So the staff can consider having it painted.
That is something we can think about. Thanks for bringing that up.
all right, thank you.
All right, next we have Phil Tribble.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I just asked my 4-year-old which of the options he likes the best, and he likes log crawl tunnel. So there's one vote from a 4-year-old out of all the
Okay.
things that you have on the screen. And I wanted to say that you asked somebody else about the ribbon. I think option A is the best. I don't think the ribbon is necessary. And
Okay.
it also seems it would save some money from not having to pour the concrete, right? Which might allow it to be invested into things like the spinner top and the log play area or log crawl tunnel.
Well,
So-
the ribbon's actually already in place and in good shape, so we would
Okay.
be able to reuse that. But yes, this would allow it. We could fit more in. Is essentially.
I thought it was there. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And then one more thing, I made a comment about this, but for tree placement, you've shown a lot of the trees in the middle of the playground, and you can see on your own image here that the shadows are casted from south to north. So having trees south of things will shade them better than having it be north of there.
No, that's a good point.
So that's all.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Adam, you do have a couple questions in
Oh.
the Q&A as well.
Okay. So we have winter is coming and the surrounding sidewalk gets flooded and icy. Will this safety issue be addressed? Where are we talking, the sidewalk around the playground or the sidewalk along the streets? If you could maybe,
She just raised her hand.
oh, okay, let's see here. Okay, you should be able to talk.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is Huda Fadel. I live just a couple of houses down from the park. I'm talking about the sidewalk that goes along St. Francis. It's the only sidewalk on that part of St. Francis because across the street are the apartments and there's driveways. So it has been a problem for a long time. It gets very wet and then slippery when it's freezing. So it just seems to me that that's a big safety issue for everybody.
That is something I wasn't aware of. We can take a look at that.
Okay, I hope you will. Thank you.
I would also along those lines, we have the A2 ClickFix app, and that allows you to report any issues at a park that our park ops can attend to. So I'll talk to park ops about this, but also if the winter comes, please feel free to mark that, and that's something that they can come out and address. I think you can find information on A2Gov about how to report those.
So actually, that has been reported by me and several other people several times. So I don't, and we've talked about it in conjunction with improving the park.
Okay.
So, I don't know, yeah.
In the sandpit.
In that order, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what he votes for.
Okay. Thank you, Huda.
I did not provide his ordered feedback. He just said that his.
Oops.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned in the beginning, some of these things may also be tied not to the playground area, but to the park in general. You know, and as we have those conversations, there may be some things to. Obviously, there's a incline at the towards that sidewalk on St. Francis that could be creating some of it. That's where the water's flowing when things are melting. So, you know, we can look at it to see what options there may be with that as we have further conversations about it.
Josh. Let's see here. I think we got a couple more. I have a comment. Just wanted to put in a plug for keeping the concrete ring. Our kids love to skate and ride on it. Also, taking it out would reduce access for strollers and wheelchairs. Thank you for that comment. We have John. I understand that the longstanding drainage issue on St. Francis is considered street sidewalk issue and shouldn't come out of the park budget. Thank you for that comment. Then we have, was there a thought of adding permanent chessboards on top of one of the picnic tables? This might be cool. That is something that I don't think we've considered in the past, but it is something that I could look into and see what we could do for that one. Thank you. Let's see, Rachel, you should have the ability to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So excited about this. I'm not in the neighborhood, but still enthusiastic. I wanted to ask what the playground surfacing material would be.
So we will be using our fiber material, which is like a shredded mulch that does allow for accessibility. We do have these are called dub downs, if you can see them on the screen, and it's like a small ramp that gets you onto the surface. So this is our standard wood chip material that's used kind of around most of our parks. I know, Dan, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, it's just probably 95% of the playgrounds in the US use what's termed, Adam called it fiber, which is a brand name, but it's a class of safety surfacing. It's engineered wood fiber that is specifically ground for use in playgrounds, and it does meet the ADA requirements for firm, stable, and slip resistant surface. So it's proven. It's a really good option.
Thanks, Dan. Are there any other questions or comments? I see the Bohac family, I see your hand is still up. You do have the ability to talk if you'd like. And Grace, you as well have your hand up. I'm not sure if you have more or you just didn't lower the hand.
And Adam, we have a request for the slides to be sent out, but we'll also make them available on the website.
Oh, yes.
So we will get them to you, John, as well as getting them onto our planning website as well for people to review.
Yeah, and we should have the recording of this meeting posted online as well here, probably by the end of the week. I need to wait till our communication specialist comes back because she can help me kind of upload it, but it will be there here shortly. It looks like we have another question. John Hunter. You
Yes,
should be
thanks so
able-
much. I'm sorry if this was addressed earlier. I was a few minutes late getting on. I was wondering if there would be any improvements to the baseball diamond at all?
You want that one, Adam? You want?
Oh,
me to-
yeah. So
Yeah.
we are planning, park operations is planning on doing some improvements before the baseball season starts. They think, I can't, Josh, what were they actually planning on doing on that?
So, I mean, we are looking at, I mean, obviously the last couple of years we've seen, decreased use of the baseball fields by outside groups and it has not been a focus as we've gone through the pandemic. We are looking to do some work into the infield, make it a little bit more clean and, weed free to the best of our ability. We also know that there are some benches and the backstop all need to be kind of updated. They've seen a lot of wear and tear. So we're really looking at making it, it's not going to be a complete overhaul, but definitely looking to get to more playable conditions, acceptable conditions from there. So.
Excellent. Thanks so much. I have a 14-year-old son, so we've enjoyed that park off and on for years. The only other thing I would just advocate for is more picnic benches in general. But otherwise, the plans look excellent. I think he would very much have liked the sort of organic, the natural play structures.
Thank you, John.
Thank
you. So are there any more questions? If not, I am going to go to our last slide here.
I think
Oh, sorry. Phil, you should be able to speak now. Phil, are you able to talk?
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't unmute myself. I coach a lot of baseball, probably more than anybody else on the call. So that baseball field is actually not that important to me. My question is, how much do you guys coordinate with Rec and Ed in terms of which fields most need to be improved?
We have regular interactions with Rec and Ed. I think that over the last number of years, with their numbers going down and their usage and stuff, there hasn't been as much of a demand for various fields. I think there is a conversation that we have on a regular biannual basis with Rec and Ed to determine where they see what they're doing. We try to balance out the requests that they have on the various parks, so that we don't have various parks, whether it be for baseball, for soccer, for flag football, for any of the programs that we don't see a wear down in any one neighborhood regularly. But at the same time, there's a lot of spaces that are utilized for informal practices or the practices which they don't normally schedule the same way. So we balance it out. All of our baseball fields that aren't are kind of maintained ones like Vets and Southwest and West Park or Southeast and West are probably all need a little bit of TLC over the coming years to get back up to playable conditions.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
It looks like we have another question that was written. It says, wondered if you have considered adding a zip line, not the kind that was there already, but one kids can sit on and ride. That is something we have not considered and probably not part of this playground thing, but that is, I don't think we have anything like that in the park system right now, but thank you for that comment. If there are no other questions, and I'm happy to stay on for a little bit longer here, but I wanted to talk about Adopt a Park for a moment. This is a chance for neighborhood residents to take on a special project or help in the park in some manner. We can help supply resources, and Melissa Schacht is our Adopt a Park coordinator. I would suggest reaching out to her if you have any interest. Lockett Park currently does not have an Adopt a Park group. There are certain volunteer days that the school does, but there is not a dedicated staff. So if that's something you're interested in, I would encourage you to reach out, and we'll have this slide online for people. or you can go to a2gov.org/adopt-a-park. And that's just a kind of a cool opportunity to help out with your local park. And so, yeah, if there are any other questions, please feel free. You can always reach out to me at afurco@a2gov.org. Or you can give me a call. My phone number is there. This recap will be put online. Always happy to talk about things. So with that, thank you everyone like we have Naomi. You should be able to talk.
Hi, thank you so much for this. And I think given the kind of segue to adopt a park, I'm wondering how we're thinking about wear and tear on these amazing new additions to the park, given the St. Francis kids use the park, and if there's a way to think about adopt the park / help keep the park from getting destroyed that we could have a conversation with them about. I know that came through a bit in the neighborhood survey that the Pattonville Neighborhood Association did. Was they have very different desires for the park, and I think I'm concerned about these really amazing features getting really beat up.
Yeah, and John was on a call with us. We had a conversation earlier this year with St. Francis and with John and with a number of individuals from the Parks Department. St. Francis, during that call, there's an understanding that there needs to be a greater relationship between the Parks Department and St. Francis for the amount of use that they do. There's an opportunity for not only kind of work days, but also potentially some support financially from the school district to support these type of initiatives, and understanding the balance of it. I mean, we run into a situation with a number of our parks that are in close proximity to schools, whether they be public or private. We don't have limits on who can come into our parks one way or another. Resident, neighborhood, non-resident, non-neighborhood. And so we try to balance that out. And when we do know that we have an organization that is utilizing it relatively heavily, what we try to do is try to build that relationship with them, so that there's a partnership more than just a use and a facility. So we are aware of that, and it is part of our conversations as we move forward with this, so that we don't put these things in and 2 years later we have to replace them because there's an excess use of them. So at least not without financial support from a greater user. So we are aware of it, and we'll continue to have those conversations.
Thank you. That's a really great update. I'm glad that that's the level of conversation that you're having, because I think it's great that they use it. I just want to make sure we're being mindful about use and things. So that's awesome. Thank you for that update.
No problem. And I will. I'm not always good at silence. So Adam, you can go back to the adopt a park. I just want to there's a lot of opinions of what adopt a parks or park stewards do, whether it's weeding or remulching. I mean, the adopt a park program has done a really great job of being advocates and being supporters for those parks that don't have true owners. So as you see some of the things that are around this picture, there's tree plantings, there's work days. The Leslie Park tree forest kind of came through the special project. We've got community gardens. We've got a number of different things that they work really hard to support the neighborhood and the adopters and what they want to see done. And so it really is it's an opportunity for the neighborhoods, for the individuals to provide some ownership to those parks and have eyes and ears on them, and really kind of think creatively about what that park can be. And in some ways, when we have those special projects, we're able to fast track some of those a little bit easier than going through some of the other more intensive projects. So as we have these conversations in the coming weeks and months, I look forward to incorporating Melissa into those conversations and seeing what we can do to create those partnerships.
I guess with that, that kind of concludes our meeting. I am happy to stick around here for a little bit longer if there are more questions that come in. But again, thank you for everyone for showing up, and we will put the results online as soon as we can. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you much. Adam, you got a hand raise.
Hey, Joe. Joe, you should be able to talk.
Is the mic on now?
Yep, I can hear you
Okay,
now.
sorry about that. Yeah,
That's
I was
okay.
just curious, what sets the mowing frequency?
So we mow all of our parks are at a 14-day mowing cycle. And part of that is not just that it's how long it takes us to get around to the various parks. You know, some of that will vary a little bit with weather, you know, so obviously during the spring, we deal with a lot of challenges with extremely wet weather. So it has been determined that it's a 14-day mowing cycle. We do, if we are able to get things earlier, we are working with staff to get them earlier. So if they're on day 13, they don't wait till day 14, but that's the traditional one. In some cases, Rec and Ed, if they're utilizing a space, may do a mowing in between, but that has been pushed onto their usage because the majority of time, I'm not saying that this is always as good as we would like, majority of time, that 14 days is right for good portion of the mowing season. So
Okay, yeah, it seemed kind of year over year. Some years are really efficient and some years not so much. I was just curious how it was determined.
yeah, and I do want everyone to realize that the last 2 years, 2.5 years have been really hard with staffing and not being able to get multiple people into vehicles and stuff with regards to COVID. So we should be getting back up. Should have been better this year than we were the year before, and much better than we were 2 years ago. But you know, I appreciate that, and that's where we're trying to get to, being more consistent with it. So
Thank you.
That, I think we can probably close the meeting down. So thanks, everyone.
thank you.